A frequently used tool in agent is search. This lesson is going to dive into how agentic search is different from standard search and how to use it. Let's try it out. Alright, so before diving into what an agentic search does, let's understand how an agent might use it. In a zero-shot learning, an agent would receive a prompt and will produce an answer based on its static weights of the model. As powerful as it's proven to be, there are many limitations to this process. First, the data around us is dynamic, so we couldn't, for instance, ask about the scores from the game last night. Secondly, in many use cases, we would want to know the sources of the information provided in the result. This can reduce hallucinations and smooth the friction of this human-computer interaction. Looking at the slide, we can see the prompt is received by the agent, which then decides to call the search tool. Then, the information found is returned to the agent. Now, let me show you what happens inside. This is an example of a very basic search tool implementation. Let's go over it step by step. If the agent decides, it will send a query to the search tool. The first step would work on understanding the question and divide it to sub-questions if needed. This is an important step because it can handle complex queries. Then, for each subquery, the search tool will have to find the best source, choosing from multiple integrations. For example, if an agent would ask, "How is the weather in San Francisco?" the search tool should use a weather API for best results. The job doesn't end with finding the correct source. The search tool would then have to extract only the relevant information to the subquery. A basic implementation of this can be achieved through a process of chunking the source and run a quick vector search to retrieve the top K chunks. After retrieving the data from each source, the search tool would then score the results and filter out the less relevant information. Okay, so let's test it out. Okay, so first let's import some libraries and do the initial connection to the search tool. Here, we loaded Tavily API key from the environment variables. And then we create the Tavily client, which we imported from the Tavily library. Alright, so after creating the initial connection, let's test it out. Here I'm gonna run a search, asking about NVIDIA's new Blackwell GPU. And let's see what's the answer. Alright, so as you can see, there's a pretty simple answer, but very accurate. Okay, so let's do a simple example to see the difference between a regular search tool and an agentic search tool. I'm gonna create a simple query about the weather in a certain location. Feel free to change the location to your location. I'm gonna do it with San Francisco. So the query is, what is the current weather in San Francisco? Should I travel there today? Now let's try to attempt it with regular search. Here, I'm gonna import the DuckDuckGo search. I'll try to run a regular search and get the links that might lead me to the answer. Okay, so as you can see, we did get the results, but it's not what the agent needs. Now we're gonna have to get some answers from these results. Let's do that. Okay, so now we're gonna create a function that's gonna scrape the data from the first URL. We're gonna use Beautiful Soup to extract the HTML. As you can see, that's a beautiful output. And if you want, you can keep scrolling down. But let's try to clear it up. Okay, to clear it out, I'm gonna use some parsing. I'm gonna extract the headers and some content. I'm gonna strip it down and use join to get the text. As you can see, the output is much better, but still not concise enough. Okay, after seeing this, let's try to run it using the agentic search tool. We're gonna do the same query and call Tavily to get us the results. As you can see, we got a simple JSON with a lot of information about the weather in San Francisco. Let's clear it out so we can see a formatted JSON. Okay, now we'll parse and highlight the JSON just so we can see it clearly. As you can see, this is not the answer I would want to see as a human, but this is the exact answer an agent would want, a structured data. Okay, I'm going to load the sample from Google search so you can see the difference. Here, I get exactly what I want as a human. A nice image showing me the temperature, the humidity, the wind, but not unnecessary data. That's exactly the difference between what a human needs and what an agent needs. Okay, that was an introduction to agentic search. In the next lesson, Harrison will discuss persistence and streaming.